What is up, guys? You guys already know the CIA, basically the spy group of the US. In this video, we're gonna look at the craziest and funniest operations the CIA did. We're in the Cold War and the US and Soviet Union are at it. At this time, the US created a new weapon. They trained a bunch of pigeons, add sensors and cameras to them, and send them from the west of Europe to Soviet Union. These pigeons had cameras, some of them had sensors, and they had stuff that would notice where the Soviets are keeping nuclear weapons. Some of the pigeons were considered a decoy, so they didn't have anything. Some of them had microphones and they were meant to throw it in specific areas. This operation was never any good, and that is why they put it away. In 1961, the CIA tried to make an airplane that looks exactly like a UFO, and it was meant to go inside the Soviet Union without being detected. They worked on this for a very long time, but they noticed that they couldn't make a flying machine that acts like a UFO. Let's go to 1962, when the Soviets gave nuclear weapons to Cuba. And this was the answer that the US had nuclear weapons in Turkey. And that is when the CIA contacted John F. Kennedy, the president at that time, and they told him that they have an idea. JFK said, "What do you have for me?" They said we should do terrorist activities in the US and blame it on Cuba. And with this situation, we'll attack Cuba. But John F. Kennedy got extremely mad at the CIA for this, and he fired more than 10 people in the CIA. In World War II, as you know, the US was the #1 enemy of the Nazis. But after the war, some of the CIA employees liked what the Nazis did. They said, "Whatever Nazi scientists you have, bring it for us." The Nazi scientists were very happy to go to the US, because if the US didn't take them, the Soviets would take them. The Nazi scientists, which some of them were killers, entered the US. One of the most famous ones were Werner von Braun, a Nazi scientist. In writing it says, he was the most evil scientist, and he would kill without making a noise. During World War II, he had a rocket factory, and he had Jewish workers. Any Jewish person that wouldn't work quick and wouldn't get the job done, they would easily hang them and leave them hanging there for days. And they would tell the other workers, if you don't work quick, this is what you'll end up like. They say the main scientist that took NASA to the moon was Werner von Braun. Let's go to the next CIA operation. In the 1970s, the CIA decided to tell the American people that Russian people are evil genetically. They would tell news reporters, writers, to say everything bad they can about the Russians. And they also tell Hollywood to do the same and make Russians look bad in movies. Now we know that KGB on the other side was doing the same thing against the United States. In another operation, CIA agents decide to buy cats. Before, we have to know this, that the US and the Soviets were extremely careful of each other, and they tried every way to get information from one another. This time, they decided to buy cats. They took the cats in surgery rooms and inserted microphones in their ears. But this was a stupid idea, and it was scrapped. The cats had microphones in their ear, but the cats wouldn't listen to the owner. They would go somewhere else and record some other noises. And that is why they noticed that the cats are not listening anymore. and they let go of the operation. It's the 1960s, and the US and Soviets are battling to go to the moon first. The Soviets sent a space probe that went around the moon and came back. After this, the US felt like they're behind now. They said, we have to go land on the moon. On the other side, the Soviets were very proud that they went around the moon once. And that is why they took the space probe, put it on a trailer, and they would show it off in Western Europe. CIA uses an excuse and pulls over the trailer, and they tell the driver to quiet down, we have to look inside this. They go inside the trailer and they notice that the space probe is empty and everything was taken out before it went on tour. Another failure of our operation is to assassinate Fidel Castro. This was never successful either, and that's because Fidel Castro lived till 90 years old and died of natural causes. In the CIA files it says they tried to kill Fidel Castro more than 10 times. Like they would send them poisonous cigars. They would put poison in clothes. But Fidel Castro knew what they were doing, and he was ready because he knew a lot of people want to kill him. Anything that was set up for him, he wouldn't use. Like for example, he leaves his shoes in a hotel, and when they say we should go get it, he says forget it, I'll never wear that shoe again. Right now we know that inside that shoe, the CIA poured poison. But the craziest CIA operation is that for years, they spent tens of millions of dollars so it could teach people mind control. We've seen it in the movies, and some people say we can do this, but nobody has actually seen the real thing. CIA was looking for people that they could actually do this. They would make different types of drugs to give humans so they can have this type of power. One of the most famous ones was LSD, and it's also considered acid. LSD makes you hallucinate, and it makes you have a different mindset. If anybody is angry, sad, or depressed, when they use LSD, there's a high chance that they will hurt someone or themselves. Unfortunately, this drug is still used today, and it gets a lot of people killed. The funny part is that when they give LSD to someone the first time and they ask him to move something, the users tells them to relax, I will move it, but they notice that he's just hallucinating and nothing is moving. But not every operation of the CIA is like this. These were considered the crazy operations.